Welcome back. It's the Big Blue Banter, New York Giants football podcast. I'm Dan Schneier, joined as always my co-host, Nick Falato. Coming to you after another Giants loss. I did not update the record back there.
It's your second time in a row missing this, Dan. What's going on here?
Well, the bigger issue for me is I'm running out of magnets. I got one 10 option over there. I can't use it for both. Now, that dynasty team is about to go to 11-1, so I will be able to swap in an 11 at some point and then get our record linked up. But the Giants lost a game where they had another 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. It's truly amazing how many times this team can lose with a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter in one season. This one, it's like, I think there's such a comedy of events and errors that has to happen for them to lose again like this. But part of it is long touchdown runs on the ground. Like, the Giants were not giving up explosive plays in the pass game. Jameis Williams had no yards in this game. He came in so hot to this game, Nick. And I felt like there were some big plays for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, I should take that back. They completed some chunk plays in the second half. But for the most part, this was a game that was won either on the ground via Jahmyr Gibbs and his 216 yards rushing, or through those little like extensions of the run game, those check down type passes and those design passes to Gibbs, which again, it's like some of these plays, man, either one, Gibbs is accelerating at a crazy rate. Like, and you've said that before the show, but then there's also plays where the Giants just can't tackle, man. It's crazy watching how this defense. I'll ask you this question, Nick.
Let's do it.
Is this defense worse than the worst we've seen from the Giants offense throughout the last 4 years? Probably no, right?
No, because this defense has star power, and this defense has Brian Burns, and this defense plays hard. They're not great, and they're just not that great, and they don't execute at all three levels as we've seen. Because there were plays where they would be able to stifle the run, come up with a stop. Jameis Winston throws that boneheaded Jameis Winston type interception. It's bound to happen, and then it was a 3 and out. And the defense got them off the field and gave the offense another opportunity. But I mean, how many times can we say this? We're beating a dead horse. There's never any complementary football. The defense cannot fit the run. Demetrius Flanagan fouls got hurt, and I'm like, oh no. I'm saying, oh no, when Demetrius Flanagan fouls goes down. That's the level of personnel that the Giants are forced to trot out there. But even independent of that, the run fits from a linebacker perspective. It's an absolute disaster. On the line of scrimmage, they're losing their double teams and getting blown away. And then the safeties, whether they're playing from depth or even playing closer to the line of scrimmage, their angles are not great. And when you're going up against a superior athlete like Jahmyr Gibbs, he's going to exploit that. And the athletic ability, like Dane Belton's a much more athletic safety, I would say, than like a Tyler Nubin, right? But you saw what happened in this game against Gibbs. Gibbs was still able to exploit that, because I don't think I've seen a player with this type of rare acceleration in open space and ability to sift through tight quarters like Jahmyr Gibson's, like Chris Johnson. Like, it does seem
CJ2K. There's nobody like it.
It's very impressive. But regardless of that, the Giants, they surrendered that 49-yard touchdown run on like 3 plays into the drive after they took the 10-point lead. It was at that moment where I was like, yeah, they're going to lose this. There's no way. I actually had a little bit of hope prior to that. I thought about texting you and being like, hey, Dan, maybe the Giants hold on to this one, because the offense was humming a little bit. You saw that Mike Kafka, he was schooling Kelvin Shepard from a chess match perspective.
He's been a great defensive coordinator this year, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shane Bowen, he changed some things up, brought some more pressure that wasn't just like the 5-man. And I thought the personnel on the back end, they were covering Jameis Williams and Amon-Ra St. They were doing a good job there, while Jared Goff was getting pressured from Brian Burns and Abdul Carter and Darius Alexander, who had 2 sacks. Nacho had a sack. Dexter Lawrence was getting interior pressure. So, but that's those same issues, though. Your ability to stop the run. Can you? No, you cannot. Fourth quarter comes around. They all just go right into a shell, blow another 10-point lead. And the decision-making down the stretch, it just seems like whatever decision the Giants do make, it's not going to work out for them. And it's just a product of a bad football team who just does not know how to finish or win games.
Yeah, and we'll get into, there's a lot to talk about. We'll get into the big decision, I guess you could call it, Mike Kafka's decision to go for it on 4th down. Now, look, everybody in my mind likes to hyperfixate on one decision to kind of decide who's to blame for a game. But like, if Kafka doesn't call any of those trick plays, the Giants are down 14 to 21 points and lose this game by 2 to 3 touchdowns. If Kafka doesn't call those well-timed screens, the Giants are down by 2 scores. So like, it's not, you have to take it all in, right? Like, Kafka gave them a chance to win. You just broke it down so well, from the well-timed screens to the continued diversity in the run game that pulled off some nice chunk gains against a tough run defense, and to obviously the 2 trick plays that worked, both for touchdowns. Like, the game it's over if the Giants don't score those touchdowns. So yeah, you can blame him for the one decision, but that doesn't undermine everything else he did. But I don't care, because I'll tell you how I feel, Nick. I like the decision. Kafka came in, he told us, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to go for it in those spots. And he does go for it over and over again, like a Dan Campbell type. And to me, that's my coach. I ride with those types. I don't want field goals in the red zone. I don't want an 18.5-yard field goal like the one Dable kicked. It's easy to say after the fact, this was a horrible decision. Can't believe the Giants did it. Why would they ever do that? Because after the fact, the Lions scored the field goal and it went to overtime. But if the Lions had just driven down and scored a touchdown like we've seen teams do against Shane Bowen over and over and over again, well, then after the fact, it would have looked like a stupid decision to kick the field goal. I have more issues personally with the 3rd down run call. I didn't like that call at all. I wouldn't have mind running the football in that spot because you want to keep the clock running, but I would have done it in a variety of different ways, not just line everyone up tight at the line of scrimmage, tip off run to the most obvious fashion, and have the most easy blow pass for a TFL. Like, spread them out, there are different kind of run plays. Do the little flip play like the Chiefs like to do in the end zone, the push pass. Plenty of things you can do to run the football or keep the clock moving in that spot.
Yeah, it was once Mike Kafka made the decision, and I have my laptop right here. That's why I'm peering over here with the ESPN. Once he made that decision to, because you had what was it? He made the decision to run or throw the football to Theo Johnson on the 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. And it's like, if that throw is just, like, it's not the easiest. He just missed it.
The other tight end was open in the back of the end zone. Jameis just didn't see it.
Exactly. At that point, it's like, well, I did not force him to burn that final timeout. I'm probably going to run the football. And then that's going to basically set up the fact that you're going for it on 4th down in that regard. And I was thinking about it at the time, and I understand why it's under fire, because it didn't work out, because nothing the New York Giants do down the stretch of the game doesn't work out. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, the Giants can't just go up 6 points, because they're not going to stop Jameis, and they're not going to stop. Like that's the way I thought about the situation while it was unfolding. I think time
was much of a factor either. Like, in the end, I think they would have been able to, I mean, it ended up being a factor in this spot, but it's always like, you look at it after the fact. I can't look at things after the fact, Nick. That's not a good way to go about it. I'm not going to go results oriented. I'm just going to go the way I like to look at it. I would rather a coach be aggressive than kick an 18.5-yard field goal like Dable did that one time. I'd rather just go for it. Try to win the football game. That's how I view it. Everyone will be different. I think in the end, Nick, we've done circles around this argument for a while, so we don't have to give our takes anymore on it. We've obviously given our takes, but we could give a take from a Giants player. Malik Nabers, who's been pretty quiet since the injury, did tweet something out and then immediately deleted, obviously, because he should. But we'll talk about a few reasons why or our thoughts on this. He's clearly frustrated by this tweet. He said, sometimes I think they be making us, and who's they? I guess that's the coaching staff in this regard. Sometimes I think they be making us lose on purpose, Malik said, because it's no way, bro, you throw the ball instead of running it to make them burn 2 timeouts. Then you don't kick the field goal, he says, ? Then they have to go down and score. Football common sense, am I missing something? So that was what Malik said. He's clearly frustrated by this decision.
I love how much Malik wants to win football games, even when he's not out there, though. Like, I like that perspective, but you never want these types of tweets. And it might say something else about his respect or lack of respect for Mike Kafka, who was somewhat being considered, I would say, for the head coaching beyond just this interim period that he's going through right now. And look, man, he's dialing up offense. I felt like the play sequencing was excellent in this game. That was not like, that was a blight, though. That was not. It didn't work out. So it's going to be open to criticism, even though I was sitting there at that same time saying, I would like to, if we score a touchdown here, we win the game. Yeah. We win the game. And there's 2 passes.
Why would we rely on our defense to, like, for the first time ever, to not like, we'll go up 6. They won't score a touchdown. Like, of course, this time they didn't, but like, you don't just, what about all the other times where they did?
Yeah, no, it is what it is, man. I mean, I knew the defense would fold like a lawn chair down the stretch, especially after
even up 10. We knew they'd fold.
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate thing. And now this time it wasn't the pass, it was the rushing attack, which the Giants have struggled to defend the run, as we've said, for the entire season. But like Corey Black, like, I don't know how these guys performed on tape. But Jameson Williams, I didn't see him the entire game. Like, you didn't see Isaac Tesla. It was 11 personnel the majority of the time. Brock Wright hardly had an impact. It was really just Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs, and mostly Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, St. Brown had a great game as well obviously, but just the lack of tackling, the lack of run, like it's the same exact stuff all the time. Personnel, whatever it is, man. It's just I do not think the Giants will win a football game until they can finally secure this, man. Like I'm never going to sit there again and think, oh, it's the fourth quarter and the Giants have a 30-point lead. Maybe they'll figure it out. No, they're going to give up the 33 points like they did against the Denver Broncos, right? Like this,
Right.
This is just what this team is at this point, whether it's Brian Dable, whether it's Mike Kafka. I hate it because it seems like this is just like a mind disease, probably like in these players' minds. Like we just can't get over the hump. We can't finish. Like what's going on here? And that's not the way you want your professional athletes to be feeling in the locker room.
But that, that also furthers the point, though, Nick. Like, if we know that this team has given up 30-plus points and all these fourth quarter points, and this is a game that features 1,000 yards of total offense and over 500 yards of offense for the Lions, like, why would you think that, like, it's a Madden call to go for it on fourth down there to try to get the lead from 1 score to 2 scores? Mathematically speaking, a field goal keeps it a 1-score game. A touchdown makes it a 2-score game. And you've allowed 500 yards of offense in the games featuring 1,000 yards. Like, again, I understand after the fact, it looks like the worst decision ever. But like over time, man, like I still stand by this decision. I don't like the third down call. That's where it really goes. I think he screwed up on third down. If he wants to run there, I'm all for it. Again, there's just so many other ways to run than the way that he thought. Like, we're not going to get that push up front, right? You knew it, right? When we lined up like that on that 3rd and goal, you knew that wasn't going in, right?
Yeah.
I was so sure that wasn't going to work, that play.
I knew they were going to run. That's the problem with passing on second down is like the Lions now know you're going to run. So they're going to sell out for the run. You could try to trick them and then you're going to really take shit, if that's unsuccessful as well. So you gave yourself 2 passing opportunities in the red zone. You targeted your big Theo Johnson, who, I mean, let's be honest here. We've been very critical of Theo Johnson early in his career. The last 3-4 games, he's playing very well. Correct. Very impressive. Making the catches along the sideline, contested catches, big, physical, blocking his ass off. So I have nothing but good words right now.
Total transformation for this player.
Exactly. But even with me saying that, he didn't come down with either of those targets. Now, the one was off. It looked like it was Jameis. The other one, Jameis threw it into a place where it was tipped, and Theo would have had to make like a miraculous adjustment to try to come down with that football. It would have been very difficult for him. So I'm not going to hold that against him. But there were 2 targets to your big tight end, your big red zone threat, and it just did not work out. And then one wasted play just to basically burn a timeout.
Made a couple sick catches, though, that without them, the Giants wouldn't even be in this game. And he's kind of evolved into more of a hands catcher. And just one final thing, I see people in the comments, I knew this would cause some anger, Nick, said you always take the points. Well, the Giants did take the points when Dable was the coach with that 18.5-yard field goal, and they literally lost the game after taking the points. So clearly you don't always take the points, or else that would just work every time. That's kind of the only way I can imagine it being the only decision to make. But let's move past that. I will try my best. Now, as far as other players on offense that stood out to you in this game, Jameis, obviously, I mean, look, the interception at the end wasn't great. And he had a couple other near interceptions, but outside of that, he played some heroic football.
I would say Jameis played great. This was the Jameis Winston experience. I mean, the guy had a 33-yard touchdown catch, right? Like the trick plays, that's something in and of itself. I mean, the Giants scored, what was this, the 6th time they scored on an opening drive touchdown? When have we seen this from a Giants offense?
There's actually a stat on it, a crazy stat on. Did you see this one from Fox?
No, please.
Okay. So the Giants in today's game scored their 6th touchdown on an opening drive. That's 6 in 12 games, Nick. That matches their total from 2021 through 2024. 4 seasons of play.
Wow.
That is what? 37. I can't do math. Oh, yeah, I can. 74. That's 74 games. Through 74 games, they had 6 opening drive touchdowns in that 2021 to 2024 era, which was mostly Dable and Kafka. And then in just 6 games this year, they have, or 12 games this year, they have 6. It's kind of an insane stat.
It's an insane stat, yeah. And I mean, the Giants had 10 plus explosive pass plays in this game. Wandale Robinson was running everywhere. He was the catalyst to the passing attack. Some of that was beneficial through the trick plays. The Giants I wouldn't say demanding or commanding on the line of scrimmage, but they were blocking and they were creating enough holes for Tyrone Tracy Jr. and Devin Singletary. So they were able to really have a multi-pronged type of attack and employ it against one of the better defenses in the National Football League. A lot of power gap, a lot of counter, a lot of
Yeah.
success from that perspective. Diversified rushing attack, something the Giants have leaned into a lot recently and throughout the season, I'd say. And I think this was the first time I heard another stat on the Fox broadcast, first time in since Hakeem Nicks that a New York Giants receiver went over 100 yards in the first quarter. Wow. And that was Wandale, who had 4 catches for 106. And that one drive was basically all Wandale. And unfortunately, they kicked a field goal on that drive.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the next point I wanted to get to. Shout out to a hater in comments. Should I expose him? No, I won't expose him. Coach D McC. So we don't usually get these types of haters in here. You two are fools. I can't listen to dummy football talk. I'm done with these tennis players talking football. Actually, I don't think he knows me, but I do play tennis, and I play tennis well. I'll take you out there in tennis, Coach McD, MC3, whatever your name is. Weird symbols and numbers behind you. And then we could settle on the tennis court maybe. But let's talk about Wandale Robinson, Nick. Let's talk about his future with the Giants. Let's talk about where we're at there. He is such a unique player, for me at least, as we go into free agency. I can't remember the last time I was so conflicted about a player heading into free agency as I am with Wandale Robinson. From a schematic standpoint and from a just what I'm trying to build my roster out as, I wouldn't want to give him this big and look, what is he going to get, right? Like Darius Slayton gets the 3 for 36. I can guarantee you Wandale's going to ask for more. His agent's going to point to the stats out of the slot this year. He's going to point to the yards, the blow-up games, and his breakout year, which it is statistically. And so you're talking about a massive contract for a player who's 5'8" with the shortest, like you said, the shortest wingspan in the history of the NFL. It is a conflicting spot because on one hand, I don't really think on paper that makes sense to resign a player like that. On the other, can we really afford to give away any playmakers on offense right now?
I mean, the Giants, they have the draft, and I'm sure they're going to do their due diligence scouting and probably try to bring in a wide receiver through the draft next year. I mean, Darius Slayton, you hope you get more from him. Seemed like he was in a limited role, nursing that hamstring.
Re-injured again.
Yeah, I mean, he came back out there after he was on the sidelines. He had his helmet on. I'm not sure, did he leave the game? I didn't
left it, came back, was like taken off a third down or something. Yeah.
So you have Isaiah Hodgins, who goes out there and he comes up with that big 30-yard catch on that just heave by Jameis Winston. Just excellent patience by Jameis. The Aiden Hutchinson was right in his face. He just tosses that up, ends up connecting with Hodgins. Then Hodgins also had that just insane touchdown catch too. Those were his only 2 catches, but those were very impactful catches. So Hodgins is already stepping in, and he is that. If Malik Nabers was here, he might be like the 1B. With Wandale being, I don't want to, that's not a slight at Wandale, but Wandale does have a kind of a niche role, right? This game, that wasn't necessarily the case. He was used downfield. He was used as that fake blocker on that first trick play that ended up going for a touchdown. It was really well executed by the Giants offensive line, mind you, because they did not go beyond the line of scrimmage, right? To not get an ineligible man downfield.
Get that flag. Great point.
And Singletary quickly got the ball, and he pressed, kept his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, then just flipped his hips, turned, got it back to Jameis, and then Jameis threw an adequate pass out there, and there was no one even in the area code of Wandale Robinson. So if Wandale can continue to show this, he'll always be somewhat limited because of his physical limitations, to be frank, but I still look at him and say I would entertain bringing him back. I just think there's probably going to be another team in the NFL who might be willing to pay him more money than the Giants will be, especially after what they just gave to Darius Slayton.
And just looking at the market at the free agent market at wide receiver has just exploded over the last few years because of a combination of 2 things. One, there's no good receivers that hit the market. Nobody lets it happen. If you draft a good receiver, you almost never don't re-sign him. And 2, desperation to find weapons for your quarterbacks, like Gabe Davis contract. Even some would argue the Slayton contract was a big overpay by the Giants. So
seems like
it's going to be a really interesting spot. But I'm with you. I think if people are expecting this to be some kind of cheap bargain deal for Wandale, they're out of their minds, because this agent is going to get the job done because he has the stats to really make a case.
Yeah, and those are real. Those are tangible stats. And I want to applaud the Giants offense, though, too, man. Like, you have your 3rd-string quarterback, should be your 2nd-string quarterback in there, right? But there is no Malik Nabers, no Cam. All the things we've been talking about, they were pinned within the 10-yard line or 15-yard line like 4 or 5 times, maybe even 6 times, I think it was, in the 20. And they were still able to put points on the scoreboard here and push the Lions, man, really threaten the Lions. And Kelvin Shepard is like, yo, look, I got my defense. We're a good defense. We're going to send the pressure. We're going to try to manipulate your protection. The protection held up. When there was pressure, Jameis got rid of the football in a prompt and timely fashion. This was a well-timed rhythmic attack by the Giants with just a lot of different, like a varied a varied way to attack this defense, not just the trick plays, not just the diversified rushing attack, but even like in quick game and some in those deep over routes and the deep flag route that they kept hitting that Jameis almost threw that interception on, which was an exceptional play by Malik Robertson. They just kept having it because Jameis was so in rhythm with the intermediate and deep passing attack as well. Like I was very impressed with what this offense was able to do.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think, look, when it comes to the Giants offense, you touched on a little bit of it. The first one is the breakout game from Wandale Robinson, one of the best first halves we've had from a receiver. Isaiah Hodgins coming up huge in big spots and making that toe tap touchdown, rising to grab that pass, the later play, Jameis making those plays in structure, out of structure. And then finally, the offensive line, right? Like the offensive line with our diverse running attack now, and just how many times did they hold up in pass protection? They gave up one or two, but like when you're thinking about just like one or two blown protections over the course of a game where your team throws for 350 yards passing and has 500 yards of total offense, that's an insane game from an offensive line. And so it's all working together now on the offensive side of the ball. It's so odd to see the Giants flip their script as a team. They're 2-9, and over the last 4 years, they've been 2-9 because, or no, they know they had the one good year in 2022, but they had been 2-9 because they don't score at all. They were the worst offense. It was inept. They couldn't believe how bad they were on offense. They would turn the ball over, then they stopped turning it over with Garrett, but they couldn't get first downs. They could never throw for touchdowns. They could never score touchdowns. And now it's just total opposite. Their defense can't do all of that, and their offense can. But there are realities that we have to face, Nick. The realities are, at least as I laid them out today on Twitter, and I stand by them. Kafka has improved 3 things since becoming head coach. The timing on these screenplays and just the overall in sync of the screenplays since he took over for Brian Daboll has been phenomenal. The trick plays have been phenomenal, and they're working, and they're creating explosives. And then third thing that you've brought up in recent weeks really is important to me is he's really diversified this run game, and the rushing attack looks as good as it's been, obviously sans the Scatterbo games, which don't count to me because that's not as much on the scheme and the blocking. It's on the individual player Scatterbo. So those 3 things are without a doubt the case. And then we know for sure he's a quarterback friendly guy who is working well with Jackson Dart. So all these things are going to be interesting as the Giants consider. And it leads me to ask you this, Nick. This is from Marcus Whitman, who I really like. I've been trying to get him on the show a lot. He's just super busy. He has like a crazy YouTube channel where he just pumps out an insane amount of content. He's a big film guy. He says, I'm really starting to like the idea of the Giants keeping Mike Kafka as the OC. Keep the same system for Dart, he says, and then go get Chris Shula or Jesse Minter to be head coach and run their defense and let them play up to their potential. What are your thoughts?
That's I would support that for sure.
Is that a thing though? Like would Kafka stay as just OC?
It depends. Now, there's a lot of variables that I don't know about. Again, like what's the respect level for Kafka in the locker room? All this kind of stuff that I don't know. Is that a customary thing? Not particularly, but I think we have seen similar things. We've seen positional coaches be retained in the past. An offensive coordinator, I would imagine if it was like a Chris Shula or a new coach, they probably want to get their own guy. But a lot of that is like, I don't know Mike Kafka's relationships with any of these coaches around the league, right? Like it's a tight knit community coaching. A lot of people do know a lot of others. So all of that is beyond what I understand or what I know, but I wouldn't be opposed to that idea if the coach was receptive to it. And it's not like the coach is kind of being, it's being foisted on the coach. I don't want that necessarily, but I do want to keep this offensive structure because it's working right now. I want to keep Carmen Brasillo. I want to keep Mike Groh. I want to keep like this offense, right? Like this is, if you would have told a lot of Giant fans, hey man, this is what the offense is going to be, we'd be like, you kidding me, man? We're putting this point, we're pushing this. We would be very excited about the New York Giants. We'd be very excited about Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston, everything that we've seen, but they just can't finish down the stretch. And a lot of that isn't just on the offense. Now the offense still, they have opportunities to, overcome their shitty defense, and they falter. Sometimes they strike and they're like, hey, we'll give you this 10-point lead. And then the defense capitulates. And that's the lack of complementary football that we always reference.
Right. And that's been plaguing the Giants for a lot longer than just this year. But that's just our life as fans. Like I text with a few of my good friends during every game, Nick. One of them, shout out Dan Negro. He listens to a bunch of our shows. It's just so funny looking back at my text thread with him after a game. And you're on a thread with me. I'm on with my family. It's like we get excited every time. And it's just this, we know when that tide turns, the moment when you're just like, okay, this game is not going to end up the way that the Giants hope it will because of one reason or another. This year, it has been a lot of the defense. So I ask you this. It's clear the Giants don't, at least to me, Nick, it's clear the Giants don't feel very confident in or excited about other options that are currently on the coaching staff to call defensive plays and to create a defensive game plan for a given opponent in a given week. But at some point, do you just have to say, like, we have to try something here, right? Like, it doesn't matter if they have experience or if we have all the confidence in the world in them or not. Like, we got to give somebody a shot to just call this game differently and maybe get some kind of different energy coming from the defense, because we've certainly seen a different energy from the team overall with Kafka and Dable. And we need to figure out if we can get something going on defense to give them a chance to win games.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be too much for Kafka and the overall coaching staff to overcome right now, because Kafka is handling a completely different operation, and Shane Bowen is a defensive coordinator who understands at least how to prepare a defense. Doesn't mean they're prepared to their best of their abilities or that the play calling is all that great. If the Giants had a Mike Kafka type of coach on their defensive staff, I think they would do that. I don't know if they do. I don't know if Marquand Manuel is able to do that. I don't know if Dre Patterson has interest in doing that. He's an older coach who's been around for a very long time, knows a ton of football, but he's a defensive line guy. I don't know if he wants to do that. So it's difficult to say, but I mean, at this point, we'll see, take it week by week. But the defensive lapses too, like obviously whatever Shane Bowen is teaching these guys, it's not fully getting through to them. And we can make so many excuses, and some of those excuses are valid, but how many times are we going to make those excuses? Yes, the Giants are injured at linebacker. Yes, they don't have a lot of depth. Yes, we saw a lot of Swayze Bozeman out there, right? Zaire Barnes made a couple plays, baby. Let's go, right? Like we have Zaire Barnes out there freaking balling and making a tackle for a loss on David Montgomery before Jared Goff takes an intentional grounding penalty. And we're like, yo, now it's 3rd and 10 or 3rd and goal at the 10-yard line. We're going to force a field goal here. And then what happens? They throw it to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Blocking is perfect on a screen, and then no one can tackle. And it's the missed tackles. Then a lot of it is execution, too, at the 2nd and 3rd level of the defense. But at some point, when it comes to the run fits, it's like, I'm sure Shane Bowen is teaching these guys, but whatever it is that he is teaching these guys, it's not really getting through to them, because this is game after game after game that these same issues keep just rearing their ugly head.
Yeah, that's a good point, Nick. Like, I don't know if any kind of defensive change will fix any of that. I'm leaning toward no on that. I just think maybe you give someone a fresh mindset on how to approach this defense and how to approach a game plan for a given opponent like Drake May or whoever's up next on the schedule after May, if they want to wait another week or whatever it may be. Maybe it's after the bye. I just think maybe it could help spark something. It's just so crazy, man, watching a lot of football. Like, I watch the Chiefs and it got to have it 3rd and 3 play. This is an easy conversion play. Like, when it's 3rd and 3, you're usually beat on defense. And before the snap, he's rotating like you see like 4 players on that 2nd or 3rd level rotating all the way to the from one side of the formation to the other, leaving the field side open. And Jones has to like quickly figure something out. So he's making a check at the line of scrimmage. The play clock's dripping and dripping and dripping. It's going from like 10 seconds down under 4. Then he flips all the players back to where they were, Spags. And then sends everybody. So by the time Jones snaps it, it's like he has nowhere to go. Then he has to like rush a throw completely off target.
Yeah.
And just like, I don't see that with the Giants ever. I never see a quarterback under this like pre-snap duress or anything like that. No.
A lot of the duress at the Giants defense forces
individuals.
On, it's individuals making plays and beating. Yeah. And Burns had a couple, man, going up against a very good matchup, right? And then the interior offensive line was losing a lot of matchups against the Giants defenders.
True.
We brought it up at the top of the show. Darius Alexander had 2 sacks, and they were nice sacks.
Nice game for him. The first one was a really, really nice sack by him.
It was quick. It was well-timed, right? And then the second sack was more Dexter Lawrence getting interior penetration, but then he was lagging back. Like he was playing.
True, which I like, which we never do. I see a lot of good teams do that to get sacks. I feel like we're not the team that does that. It's good to finally see that. And even Raheem Nacho had a really nice individual sack in this game. It was a great one-on-one play.
And then he kicked Jared Goff in the head.
The
celebration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jermaine Illuminor is another player I forgot to talk about on offense. I know some people take exception with his post-game comments. I'll just read it real quick. He said, "How do I say this respectfully?" He's talking about Aiden Hutchinson because he didn't like that he celebrated the sack at the end of the game, which I think is weird by Illuminor. He said he did not do a damn thing all effing game. He said the real word. He strikes me as the type of guy that would try to celebrate that one play. I know. Look, but then he says, like, I was on an island with him and he didn't do anything. The fact of the matter is, I don't really care about what Illuminor has to say about Hutchinson's celebration. I care about the fact that Illuminor's right, dude. I mean, we'll see if the tape checks this out, Nick, but he's probably telling the truth. He was probably on an island all day in pass protection against one of the best players in the NFL in Aiden Hutchinson and gave up one total bad play all game. Do you know how ridiculous that is for Jermaine Illuminor to pitch a game like that? And for the Giants to have not re-signed a player like this, who's 30, oh boy, who gives a flying F if he's 30. So plenty of these offensive linemen play very well into their well into their 30s and play good football into their 30s. Like, so this is priority number one for me. And I think in the comments, your average fan said Hutch was chipped a ton. We'll see on the tape. Like Illuminor says he's on an island.
I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was chipped a decent amount, but regardless of that, he was still executing his assignment. It wasn't like the Giants were calling their offensive attack to protect Jermaine Illuminor.
Right.
No, like he could be on. Like he handled it.
Yeah, they're not. Remember that Bengals game we had a couple years ago where we had to just it wasn't like that where we're just assigning every single resource to help against Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah. So overall, man, I want Jermaine Illuminor back here, and I don't even really hold like that last play. It's like, yeah, Aiden Hutchinson's good. They know the Giants are passing. The Giants are very one-dimensional because they back themselves into that
third
situation.
down run was terrible earlier on that drive, by the way.
The third down run?
Yeah. Hated that call.
We had the fourth down scramble by Jameis Winston to keep that. Jameis is so much fun, man. I know we talk about it a lot, but
he is.
I think he could start for some other teams, but he's going to make some of those Jameis Winston type of mistakes as he did in this game. I knew that was going to be I was like, don't throw it. Like it was a rollout. It was a rollout, and I was like, bro, you're waiting way too long. You're getting well outside the numbers. Do not throw across your body back to the middle of the field. And he did, and it was an interception. But luckily,
he almost had another later. He it is what it is. You're going to get at minimum 1 to 3 of those per game with Jameis.
Yeah,
but who cares? You're also getting 347 yards passing, which you never get. The Giants don't do that, and nobody really is doing that against the Lions for the most part this year either. And that play he made, the big play down the field to Hodgins, that was an amazing individual play from what was that, 3rd and 12 or something? It was a long down and distance that he created on that. So
and the pressure was there. The pressure was there, and he just waited, and fired, and then took the hit. And he did that all game too, man. Yeah, he finished with, I think, 366, 18 of 36 for 366, 2 touchdowns, a pick, and a 33-yard touchdown reception. Imagine the odds you could have got on that.
It's crazy that he didn't even attempt that many passes, and he still threw for 350. It's actually, when you go over those numbers, it's pretty wild to hear. Yeah. He just picks up chunk gains with his arm over and over and over again, outbreaking routes, just constant chunks with him. It's wild to watch him play football. I can't imagine why. I tweeted about this, Nick, as a coach. I get it. If you're just looking at it strictly from a vacuum standpoint, Nick, of this guy has this many wins in his career and this many Super Bowls in his career. Maybe I guess you make the decision to start Russell Wilson. But if you're watching tape, and I said this from the start, so it's not me, backtracking. You can find all this information on my Twitter, all receipts of it, and then on our show from earlier this summer. But from the tape standpoint, it was so clear Jameis gave the Giants a better chance to win than Russell Wilson at all and every point of this journey that we've had since we signed them. It's just so interesting to me that Russ was name the starter immediately, given all the reps, no competition with Jameis or anything like that. And just, that was kind of how it was. It's just very odd to me.
Yeah. When the Giants signed Jameis Winston, we were like, oh, okay, cool. And then 2 days later, they signed Russell Wilson. Yeah. And we're like, what does this mean now? It's going to be Russ. Russ is going to be the starter over Jameis. And I wasn't opposed to bringing in 2 veterans. I was fine with that. I think the Giants needed to pour assets into their quarterback position, and they draft Jackson Dart. And I think that worked out. But the Russell Wilson experiment did not. The Russell Wilson experiment was definitely the one that you look at and you're like, this is terrible. I think they just loved his leadership. It was a young team.
Yeah. And his win track record. It's just things that happened in the past. Just the tape was clear. One guy can play the position, can really throw a football and chunk gains. The other is just limited to just looping balls over down on the outside. Crazy.
Yeah, I'm just so sick and tired of seeing this defense. I knew going into this is Jahmyr Gibbs. I was in every DFS, everything. I was Jahmyr Gibbs
for you.
Oh, of course. I was dude, I knew obviously he's going to get over whatever his over is, bet on it, right? Whatever it is, he's going to hit it. Bet 2 touchdowns. He had 3, right? Just do it because he's going to feast. And early on, it wasn't that apparent, right? Especially on the second drive for the Lions. It was all David Montgomery. And I was like, did Jahmyr Gibbs get hurt? Is it a Josh Jacobs situation from last week? And I went to the Lions Twitter, and they're all like, Dan Campbell sucks at play calling. Why isn't Jahmyr Gibbs out there? And then for the rest of the game, it was Jahmyr Gibbs. And you saw you even saw on some of the plays that only went for 8 or 9 yards. It was dude, he got tripped up by this much.
Yes.
it was that close to being like a 60
They had
yard
at
touchdown
least 2
run.
of those. Yeah, it was bad. I mean, look, this defense, like you said, it's done. It's cooked. There's no linebacker play that we can be excited about in the run game. They don't ever get. I mean, it's just truly amazing to watch this extended period of linebacker play, Nick, without a single. Wow, he made a nice play in a pass lane and he tipped the ball. Like it's not. It's like there's no awareness in the pass lanes.
We did have a tipped interception, but it was a tip by Amon-Ra St. Brown.
By Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't like a linebacker getting in a pass lane.
There was one play too where
crazy to
Amon-Ra, like sat in a button hook right between the curl flat and the middle hook, and Okereke flowed over there, and it's like, how'd that get completed? Like Okereke's right there, and he still couldn't knock it down. Like Okereke took such a significant step back in pass coverage from his first season in 2023, where he was kind of an asset as a middle linebacker using his long arms.
2023, was it? Oh yeah, he was signed right after that bad year of linebacker. Yeah, when we had he was actually really good in that wing system.
I'm telling you, man, just expect the Giants to pour assets in the linebacker position.
I don't expect that.
I do. I don't. Dude, we've talked about this a lot, man. Like Joe Schoen,
reactionary. Yeah,
very reactionary, overreactionary, which I don't hate, but don't do it at the expense and don't of other positions or from getting better players. But I have to imagine that they're going to, and maybe that just includes re-signing Micah McFadden. I mean, Micah McFadden's market is more than likely going to be, and you're still going to add somebody else because Okereke's contract, you're coming up on a decision with that. But with Micah McFadden, his market's probably going to be significantly depressed. I don't know if he's going to return this year. So maybe you're going to be able to get him on the cheap for a like 1 year contract where he can come and,
that could be what ends up happening with that. It's a quick 1 year reestablish your value type of thing for McFadden, which I wouldn't hate. I mean, it'd pretty much be a best case scenario, I think, for the Giants.
And again, like your average fan makes a good point. If Joe Schoen is the general manager, we're assuming that he might be, but that might not be the case.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to be GM at this point because if they get to 2-11, which they probably will against the Patriots before the bye week.
Entering the bye week, and that's when I think the Giants, if they make changes, it's going to be then. They're going to go into next week.
I think realistically, they would consider it more strongly if Mara wasn't sick, to be completely honest. But I'm just speculating on that part. I just don't a GM search at a scratch right now because I think they went into this thinking there was no chance they'd have to do it, especially after Jackson started playing. And it was all right. We got our team moving forward. I imagine after the Chargers win, that Mara just expected Dable would win a bunch of games down the stretch and we'd be able to extend this thing into next year. So there's a lot of moving parts that were unexpected. I think right now. I'll leave the door open for them to consider moving on from Shane, but I would lean toward they're probably looking to keep him for the sake of ease.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. Let's get to some soups here. Paul Bigelow, thank you, says another blown game. It has to be fixed, right? How is this possible? Kafka kick the field goal, always take the points. Dan and I talked about
this at depth. I don't want to get back into it, but thank you so much for the super chat, the donation. Appreciate everybody listening right now. Please leave us some comments, not just during the live, which is helpful. Please, after the show, leave some comments on the video, even just to say hi, and please hit the like button at all times. We need your help to grow this show. The way that you can help us grow is by leaving us a like and a comment.
Thank you. See ya. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Wow. All right. New York Giants.
How you could ever say that? See ya.
Saya. How you say it?
I just think that's Saya.
Saya? What did I say? Sia? Yeah. Whatever. New York Giants breaking NFL records again with their 5th loss when leading by at least 10 points. I think is what 2-5 when up at least 10 at any point.
That's not great.
It's not great, Bob.
It's not great, Bob.
Dills, thank you so much. Been watching the Giants for 35 years. Knowing this team, I'd bet money Shane stays no matter what. Accepting that, best case scenario is go for a defensive-minded head coach to bleach that room and then hope Kafka is willing to stay as OC.
Well, there's other OC options. It's not just Kafka.
Yeah, no, of course. But if you want to keep the continuity and you like what you see from Dart, I think that is a desirable outcome. I trust Mike Kafka so far as an offensive mind, at least from what we've seen, right?
Not always without Nabers too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of reason to buy into that. I just want it again. I want whoever the next head coach is, I want that guy to be comfortable with the staff and not be forced to keep anybody for one reason or another. Like I want this to be a good transition into him being the new head coach. Jeffrey Wilson, thank you. At least it wasn't a 4th quarter loss this time. Fun game, but another tough loss, but expected. Yeah. Overtime. Jason Benjamin, thank you. I know this has been a bad season, but our roster has went toe-to-toe against some tough teams. Giants really need to nail this head coach. Yeah, they do need to nail this head coaching. And I agree. Like, it's a weird season, right? Like, I talk about this with my Jet fan friends. Like, dude, at least we're not like the Jets, right? But like, we're still losing games, and we're still a depressing team who can't finish. And it's frustrating because we keep losing in very similar fashion. But the Giants aren't a team. Like, you look at their schedule or you look at their record and you're like, oh man, it's a rollover team. I don't think the Giants are not a rollover team. The Giants
haven't been at all. They're 13.5-point dogs, almost upset the Lions in a must-win game for Detroit.
Yeah, it's and they do this consistently at this point. It's just at the end of the day, they can't finish. Can't finish. I know. Let's see where we are at. Talking Echo, thank you so much. I don't blame Kafka for the 4th and goal because I wouldn't trust Bowen to defend a touchdown on a short field. Not running it 3 times was questionable, though. Yeah. I mean, them not. You wanted them to burn those timeouts, and then them just not executing on those 2 plays, and it was there with the Theo. It's just slightly off, and that's the case with the Giants. Always just slightly off, just a little bit, right? Jason Benjamin, thank you. I'm still team draft a lineman somewhere in the first 2 rounds, offensive or defensive line. Go sign Leo Chanel. We need some talent infusion on the second level.
Dan and I completely agree with you here, Jason, and I know Nick does as well.
Yeah, we were big Leo Chanel fans.
But like, with that said, like, if we get to the draft and the Giants are in position where there's a blue chip receiver and there's no blue chip lineman, you take the blue chip receiver every single time. And that's just how it goes. Like, you got to take the best player. You can't try to draft for position. That's how you kill yourself. Like, think about the year where there was Sean Taylor in the draft and there was Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger and there was Robert Gallery. Some people, if they had taken Robert Gallery to just take the position, right? You always take the tackle. You want the left tackle. You want the lineman. You lose. You lose bad in that spot. You have to scout the player.
Geez, the Raiders, man. Larry Fitzgerald was in that draft. Like, that's just
Hall of Famers left and right in that class.
Yeah, that was an incredible class. Talking Echo also says, thank you so much, by the way. Also, if Nagy and Smith are genuine head coach candidates for the Giants, I would prefer Kafka 1,000 over any of them with a creative DC.
Yeah, I mean, like I said a couple shows ago, if there's a situation where the Giants hire Arthur Smith or Matt Nagy, you're going to see the biggest blow up in the history of Big Blue Panther for me. It's not a joke. It's the truth.
Big Blue blow up. That's what we're going to get.
I don't even know what I'm going to do. The face is going to turn so red. It's going to be insane.
Jason, thank you so much. I know I may
oxygen.
Yeah, you're gonna have a conniption and pass out live.
I will probably pass out live.
Fun. I know I may hate tomatoes, but I wouldn't mind Spags as head coach. Convince Kafka to stay as OC, assistant head coach. They have that connection. Spags can focus on defense. Not a terrible idea. Not a terrible idea.
I mean, look, as it stands right now, considering the situation for the Giants, which is a really obnoxious situation in my mind, because one, it's the first time in my life as a Giants fan, Nick, where the Giants are, without a doubt, unquestionably, beyond belief, beyond far to me, the best destination for a head coach. Like, nothing even comes close to rivaling what the Giants are able to offer a head coach in this cycle. They're able to offer Jackson Dart on a rookie contract, an offensive line that's playing amazing football, and then talent on defense that needs to be actualized. But like, the Titans aren't offering anything close to that, et cetera, et cetera. And yet there's no good candidates, or there's no great candidates to say. Not good. There may be great ones, but none that we know. There's no Vrabel sitting there, right? Like, Vrabel was sitting there last cycle. Yeah. He would have come here for sure. It's obvious. Like, he went to play. It's the same situation as New England, right? Like, young team, you get Drake May, now you get Dart. But with that in mind, I still stand by, for me right now, Nick, my options that are at the top of the list are Kubiak, Shula with McDaniel, or Spags with McDaniel. Those are right now, as it stands to me, Nick, my 3 favorite options out there for us.
I like those options too, and I also like what was just suggested, right? Like, if you bring in Spags, and it really comes down, is Kafka comfortable? That is kind of like a step down almost. It's like, oh, well, I'm not good enough to be head coach. But at the same time, like, Kafka's been here for years. I'm pretty sure he has a family, right? And they're settled into this location. It's still a good location with a young quarterback where you can continue to bolster your resume. So like, it might behoove him to stay as well. Jays, thank you so much. Big super chat. Thank you. Response to last episode. Sorry, I always miss the Q&A. I don't want McCarthy, but 60% wins isn't luck, and the coach isn't just along for the ride. Not all head coaches win with talent, but all winning head coaches win with talent. You can't just dismiss success. I agree with that. I don't want to dismiss his success. I still don't find him to be the most appetizing, but I do think there is merit to what you just said.
Yeah, it's for sure merit to what you said. Still not I'm still not in on it.
Yeah. Giants 98. Thank you. Love the show. I know it's early, but thoughts on a trade back targeting Kenyon Sadiq would have two explosive tight ends, which Dart likes to throw to, and a physical run game since both block well.
I want to scout the player, but before I think Nick just popped out for a second, he'll probably be back in a moment. I do want to scout the player first, Giants 98, before I decide on this, but I think it's a massive risk when you take a tight end early in round 1 or even middle round 1 after a trade back. It's worked sometimes and it's failed miserably other times, like Kyle Pitts and Eric Ebron and players that nature. I'd be a little more skeptical of it personally.
Yeah, the 12 personnel with two like stud.
It's great on paper. Every team that's done it has thought, right? The team that did Pitts, the team that did Ebron, they've had that same thought, but it's hard to actualize.
I think the Giants did a good job. Like if Theo continues his upward trajectory, landing him in the 4th, like that's what I would more so want to like focus on, right?
I think they might be thinking Fedone could eventually be something like that too.
Yeah, that would just be a home run, a 6th-round pick. I mean, again, the guy, and we love to reference it, the guy was more highly recruited than Brock Bowers. So obviously,
better recruit than Brock Bowers, you're right.
AFC, thank you so much. I didn't love the play calling at the end of the last two. I can understand why one would feel that way as we've referenced all show. I think the sequencing throughout the game though was you could tell like Kelvin Shepard was a little stubborn, it seemed like, and we'll go over the all 22. He was like, no, we're gonna keep doing our man. He got a little Shane Bowen in him, and the Giants kept cooking it. Like Wandale, like the cuts that Wandale Robinson, Isaiah Hodgins, they were executed at the top of their stems, the top of their break. They were crisp and the ball was out, right? The ball was just coming. Like the timing is what really I was impressed with from the Giants offense, as I said earlier. Jays, thank you so much. Nice to see number 91 getting a couple of sacks there. A little nostalgia and a little hope for the future. Yeah, a little nostalgia, Mr. Justin Tuck. But yeah, Darius Alexander, I guess, like we said, that one sack was nice, man. That was a very, it was a bull rush to the half man, quickly got there, and then was just right in Jared Goff's grill. So good job by Darius Alexander. Still, though, the defense, continues to be an Achilles heel for this team.
Without a doubt.
And those are all of our super chats, Dan.
Cool. Do you have anything else on this game, Nick? I think we've touched on most of what I want to hit on. Yeah,
we touched on a lot. I mean, Giants just in general, I'm not surprised by this, right? I was impressed with a lot of different things on both sides of the football, but at the end of the day, they're the New York Giants and it's 2025. So it did not work out for them for the reasons that we've went over the last 45 minutes.
Yeah. And the last thing I guess we can touch on, which I forgot to get to, I had it written down just to get your thoughts on it. After the game, Carl Banks, friend of the show, big fan of ours. He actually has a player that we need to watch film on, according to him, as I'm excited to watch from Rutgers, as I know we always do some local guys. But he went on, I believe it was on his radio call, or maybe it was the post game. I'm not sure. I saw a clip of it online. He was really effusive in his, he kind of came after Shane Bowen in a little bit for not having Dexter Lawrence on the field. I thought so. Like when he said it, I looked it up and I wanted to see what Kafka had to say about it. And Kafka said that Lawrence was a little nicked up, so they try to keep him on 3rd downs. But the problem for that is like the first play of overtime wasn't a 3rd down. Like, so it's just like when he gave up that long run, it wasn't on 3rd down. So
no, I think Kafka was saying he only wanted to use Dexter on first on 3rd down. But the thing, like, I don't know the extent of the injury. There's no way for me to know this, right? But you were getting torched in the run game at that point. You would hope, like, I want to see what the safeties were doing. I want to see like what that box looked like, and we'll do all that on the show tomorrow, the all 22 show, which we might have to do 2 shows. We'll have to wait and see exactly, because there's a lot to dive into with this game. We'll see how that goes tomorrow after the film. But if he was nicked up, he was nicked up. Like, what are you gonna do? There's no depth behind Dexter, which is it's maddening, because the Giants, if they've done anything correctly over the last decade, it's locate and identify defensive line talent. I think they've had it through free agency, through guys they drafted, but they've let them all leave at this point, and they just haven't replenished it, at least from a run defense standpoint. Darius Alexander, I love the steps forward in as a pass rusher that we saw today. 2 sacks, that's excellent for the young man, but he's not a run defender yet, and Nacho's not necessarily that at this point. So who's defending the run if Dexter Lawrence isn't out there? It's not great. And not to mention the linebackers are just running around like chickens with their heads cut off. They don't know exactly where to be, because you have like literally practice squad level guys playing like over 30 snaps for them.
Just crazy.
Sucks.
Absolutely crazy. They've been so beaten up on defense. Kafka's really not dealing with a good hand as far as his transition goes. But we'll be back on Monday to do some film review with you. Long week before the Patriots Monday Night Football game.
Is that getting flexed out, or would that have already happened?
No, I think that would already happen. I'm thankful for that.
I'm
personally.
pretty sure,
I want to watch Red Zone on Sunday. Personally, I've been doing some 2TV stuff though lately, but I'd like to focus on the other games. But yeah, so we'll get that Monday night game. Drake May without Will Campbell. Will Campbell got injured today. This could really change the trajectory of that season. Yeah,
did not see that.
So Brian Burns, yeah. So Brian Burns, I mean, maybe he'll be back, but Brian, I don't know how quick. Brian Burns should have a really good matchup in this game against the Patriots without Will Campbell there. So maybe the Giants could look. The Giants have been competitive in both games with Kafka against two good teams. The Packers, who won a blowout today. My God, JJ McCarthy, dude. Holy crap!
What happened there?
What do you mean? What happened there?
I'm so invested in the Giants and the Giants play that like I don't even really know what's going on around the.
Well, he took like 7 sacks. He had like 39 net passing yards, 2 interceptions. Just literally looks unplayable at this point, which is crazy because, like, I wonder because I liked watching this guy at college. This is so unrelated. Everybody jump off the stream if you don't want to hear talk about it, non-Giants, but like. I wonder if Max Brosner could operate that offense at a higher level. I would lean toward yes right now, that Max Brosner would be a better option for them because he would keep them more on time and just generally speaking is just not so broken mechanically. McCarthy just looks broken mechanically, completely broken. And I know he said this week, like you saw the stuff. Did you see the stuff with his quarterback coach this week where he was going off on people? Oh, his quarterback coach was like cursing out people and we were, talking shit about him. Like McCarthy basically said, I'm going to completely retool and revamp my mechanics and I'm learning a new way from O'Connell. This is not good. Like you can't just learn that in season. Like that's not how this works at all. So that's a game the Giants could easily win as I see coming up. Like if they stick with McCarthy, the Giants play the Vikings. That's one on the schedule that I have just like circled right now. Like I think Brian Flores will embarrass us offensively, obviously, but like no one moves it on him. But I think we're just going to rip. It's the one get right game for the Giants defense this year.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'll be skeptical until I see it. Yeah. But either way, this is always fun talking with all you guys. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show. And here's to week 14 next week. And then a bye week. Jeez. I mean,
no, week 13, then the bye week.
Well, yeah, next week or week 13 and the bye week 14. It's just like, holy crap, man. Season has flown by and I still can't believe they do week 14 buys. I'm pretty pissed about that.
I know it does suck, but luckily it's a year that didn't matter for us. So
true.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please support the show by hitting the like button, by subscribing if you haven't already, leaving a comment after the stream and in stream, and check out our film reviews tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night and we'll talk to you soon.